Welcome to Indian Union News. Our guest today is philanthropist and entrepreneur Desh Deshpande. He is the founding president of TiE Boston, and he plays so many important roles in so many organizations and institutions around the world. We are going to talk to him about upcoming TiECON 2021, which is going to happen on October 1st at the Westin Hotel in Waltham. Des, welcome to our show and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Upendra.
So, as I said, that you were the founding president of TiE Boston, and you have been involved with TiE ever since. You have a great passion for this organization, and so many TiECONs were done under your leadership here in Boston. So, just wanted to say, what is your take on TiECON and how the TiECON has evolved, especially this year, which is happening maybe one of the first in-person conference in Boston as far as the entrepreneurship is concerned.
Yeah, Upendra, the as you said, TiE started in '97, and I think we've had the TiECON East ever since then. So it's almost like we started in '98. So
Yes,
it's
yeah,
almost
98, yes.
23rd TiECON East or something, and we had it every year. But what's different is that in '98, TiECON East was relevant to entrepreneurs. Most of the people were just trying to beginning to understand what is entrepreneurship, what is a venture capital, what's a term sheet, and so just the basics of entrepreneurship. When you fast forward 20 years, now entrepreneurship is mainstream. So entrepreneurship is not just relevant to entrepreneurs anymore. So it's people who want to work for these companies. They have to be entrepreneurial. And the world is changing so fast that there is no business, no vertical that's going to be separated from what's happening in the startups. Just look at what happened to, let's say, shared economy. Maybe about 10 years ago, I used to see companies proposing things where people could rent their cars out from the garages and so on. So the shared economy was just beginning, but now it's mainstream. And there isn't a single business I can think of where the shared economy has not penetrated. So TiECON East was relevant to entrepreneurs. Now it's relevant to entrepreneurs. It's relevant to people who want to work for little startups because they have to be entrepreneurial. It's relevant for big companies because the big companies have to keep up with innovation. And the way they keep up with innovation is some aspects of them, they innovate themselves, but quite a few they get through mergers and acquisitions. But more than anything else, they need to know what's exciting that's going on in the innovation world. In fact, that's part of the reason why a key innovator like Reshma, who runs a very large pharmaceutical company, Vertex, is a keynote for this conference. And so, whether you are in the business of marketing, funding companies, a venture capitalist, an entrepreneur looking for starting a company, somebody who wants to be entrepreneurial and start working for startups, and any other support function within the economy, you have to be aware of it. And it's impacting education and healthcare, and of course, high tech. And so I think TiECON East is now not so much an entrepreneurial conference, but a conference that's relevant to pretty much everybody. And one of the big things about innovation is when sometimes you have problems that that you want to solve, and you go looking to conferences looking for solutions for those particular problems. But in the innovation economy, that's not the issue. The issue is you don't even know what's possible. So you need to make the time to go and look at crazy ideas, other ideas that people are proposing, so that you come away knowing what's possible. So with 50 panelists and so many tracks at TiECON East, I think it will be an exciting time for anybody who comes and attends to get exposed to a lot of new things that are going on in different areas. And so I would encourage any professional who is active in the economy, who is trying to make things happen. And when things are changing very fast, I always talk about how there's only two options. Either you grudgingly accept the change or you lead the change. So if you want to lead the change, if you want to embrace the change and lead the change and be a part of the game that leads the change, come attend TiECON East.
Thank you, Des, for such a powerful message, and we hope that a lot of people are going to come there. Also, I attended last year. We didn't have the TiECON because of COVID, but year before in 2019, and the whole demographics of TiECON attendees has also dramatically changed. I remember in 1998, 1999, mostly it used to be the Indian American or Indian in crowd, but in 2019, you didn't feel that it's just an Indian conference. You have people of all uh, the demographics, all background. I mean, everybody you could think of was there, and it has really become the largest conference of entrepreneurs and for the entrepreneurs and for the business community. Now, before I let you go, the last question to you is: are you surprised by how the Thai movement has changed or transformed into itself?
Well, not really, because you can't do business in isolation. You know, you can't start a business and say, "I'll only sell to Indians," right? So you have to have teammates, you have to have employees, you have to have talent, you have to have funding, you have to have access to market, you need to address bigger markets. So mainstreaming businesses for growth is something that's a very natural progression. And and so most of the entrepreneurs, whether it's Neeraj Shah with Wayfair or any of these things, if you look at them, they're pretty large companies, mainstream. So you cannot sort of say, hey, I'm an Indian, I'll do business with two other Indians and do a startup, right? That
Sure.
doesn't work anymore. And same thing with non-Indians, they have to, there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of expertise within the Indian community, and they have to embrace that community to be able to grow their own businesses. And so I think Thai, when it started long, long time ago, it used to be primarily people who came from India, the first
Mhm.
generation Indians who came here. Now it's a pretty nice mix, and I really like that. It's non-Indians, and also it's Indians who are second generation,
Yeah.
kids who grew up here, and they connect to the Thai membership more based on businesses,
Yeah.
not so much their cultural events. In Thai, 20 years ago when we got together, we always talked about samosa and chai and movies that you liked and the songs that you liked and so on. But that's not the primary conversation anymore. The primary conversation is more talking about business and talking about the trends and talking about the global issues. And so it's mainstreamed very nicely. And I really like the way the Thai is progressing.
Yeah, and also if you see the 50 speakers for this year at ICON, I mean, they are basically who's who from all these different industries. And in the names and the last names, it's a global last name from everywhere you can think of. So it's very, very exciting. And this again, it's always pleasure to talk to you all always. And thank you again for your time.
Well, thank you, Petra, and I wish TiECON East all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.